Welcome to episode 32 of the Top 2 Inches Rugby Podcast, brought to you by I Spy Surveys, the go-to specialist survey and inspection company based in Exeter, Devon. So, Ollie is going to be here to give his reaction to last week's announcement around the Lions squad. Be interested to see what he says. We'll also check in on the latest round of the Gallagher Premiership and the final round of the Allianz Premier 15s. So who made the semi-finals? We'll find out. Obviously, we'll check in on the news, and no doubt Ollie will want to have a little look at the Fantasy Rugby. Me personally, I don't, because it was a really poor weekend for me. I've already started preparing for next season, because this season is pretty much over and done with. I don't think I can come back with only 4 rounds left of the main season and then the semi-finals and the finals. So it's pretty much done and dusted. He will retain the title. Anyway, enough of me whinging and moaning. Let's get on with this episode. Ollie, how the devil are you, my man?
I'm very good, thank you, mate. How are you?
Not too bad at all, thank you. Not too bad at all. So lots obviously to chat about today. One of the main kind of things being your reaction to the Lions announcement. Obviously, you know you're unavailable for our little straight after the kind of announcement chat with the editor-in-chief, who I have to say was quite controversial in some of his comments.
Brutal Bob.
Brutal Bob, yeah, brutally honest Bob. So, you know, he doesn't like Johnny May, he can off. But to be fair, his kind of comments...
Elliot Daly, Owen Farrell, the list goes on.
I know. But I think his comments around Elliot Daly were probably right in terms of his selection, his ability to play a variety of places in the team, the howitzer of a boot up at altitude or down at altitude, whatever it might be. So that's possibly why he was selected. But what are your kind of thoughts now the dust has settled, everybody's calmed down, and just taking a moment just to kind of think about Gatland and why he's done what he's done?
Well, I overall wasn't any major surprises. I don't think. A couple of sort of slight raised eyebrows on a few things I thought, but nothing, no real shocks. I didn't think. Yeah, I mean, our editor certainly voiced his strong views on a couple of the selections or non-selections. I totally agree with Daly. I wouldn't go as far as saying he's just outright but that's but fair play. I understand where he's coming from. It's yeah, I mean, the guy's just not in form, is he? So I just massively question that selection. I do understand he's a utility player, which is useful, and like you say, he's got a big kick which could be used for. But then Henry Slade, do you know what I mean? Massively in form. He can cover 12, 13, 15. He can even cover 10. He's played 10 in his career. And it's not like he hasn't got a particularly big boot on him. He's got a fairly hefty boot, hasn't he? So,
mate, do you know what? I didn't even think about that. That's an absolute fair comment. But I think also what my kind of thoughts around Gatland's selection is, he is going route one, China. We're talking. I think what I kind of said was he's going to bosh it up with the big guys, and then the likes of people like Sam Simmons maybe sit on the bench and then come on in the second half when the box are maybe a little bit tired and, fatigued.
Yeah, it's like from his overall selection, it looks like he's going for a physical game, doesn't it? Which obviously you've got to play a physical game against South Africa. You can't deny that, can you? But not much of the other than probably Finn Russell being the standout. There's no real sort of what you would say sort of flair creativity players in the backs in particular. But yeah, I mean the selections. Johnny Hill. I mean we picked him, didn't we? But
we did.
He's obviously in there for obviously a massively in form and vastly his career's moved on at a hell of an acceleration over the last 12 months, 2 years. But yeah, I mean he's a big second row, isn't he? So he's obviously, and Courtney Laws.
Yeah, absolutely. He was the 37th man, wasn't he? Apparently.
Was he?
Yeah, apparently. So rumour has it. So I've heard.
Okay.
That's not on the BBC, by the way.
It's not on the BBC. Yeah, but I mean, he's a test animal, isn't he? And he's obviously a huge physical guy. Covers 6, second row and 6, doesn't he? So been there and done it before with the Lions, hasn't he? So he's a not a huge shock selection, but a slight raised eyebrow on that one, I suppose, but just because he's not had a lot of rugby, certainly international rugby, and over the last sort of 12-18 months, has he? But yeah, not discrediting his inclusion. He deserves to be there.
No, absolutely.
I try to think. Yeah, it didn't. If you're not taking Manu Tuilagi, taking the risk on him with injuries and that, and is he going to be fit enough? Then looking at the home nations, Bundyaki is probably, in my opinion, the closest sort of like for like on what Manu can bring to the side. As far as just hard running, hard hitting, Bundyaki is a hugely physical centre, isn't he? So yeah, and again, like you say, that sort of tends to suggest towards the sort of tactics, or one of the tactics that Gatland's going to be looking at, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And you got your man in there, Van der Merwe. You must be happy.
My man. Well, yeah. I mean, we did we have him in our? We had him on our squad, didn't we? Because I argued him in, didn't I? You
argued him in, yeah.
Instead of Johnny May, and he wasn't selected. So, but
no.
Josh Adams, we didn't have him, did we? So
no. Conan, we didn't have.
No, that's a. I mean, the guy's obviously playing very well and in good form and done very well for Ireland in the Six Nations, but probably not many people were expecting that one. Unfortunate for Billy V, probably, but then you can understand it with he's not been in his best form for quite a while now. I mean, he's had some certainly signs of improvements and some good spells in the Six Nations, wasn't it? But nothing like
he was.
Yeah, so you can understand that one. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Sinclair's
out. Yeah,
that's probably one of the biggest decisions, I think, selection decisions, which is, he's been a Lion before, isn't he? And he's, in my view, would be second choice prop after Ty Furlong. Obviously, he's not one there, isn't he, on the tight head? But yeah, I'm trying to think who else. I haven't got the squad in front of me, actually, mate.
No, I was just looking that up. So Bundyaki, we've talked about. Obviously, Elliot Daly, we talked about. Chris Harris, the Scottish centre. I wanted.
Yeah, you shoot him, didn't you? So yeah, fair play.
That was good. Jack Conan, we talked about.
Ali Price at scrum half.
Yeah, shame on Danny Kerr.
A bit long shot, wasn't it? We were just hoping.
Yeah, we were hoping for Danny. Not going to lie.
Yeah, okay. Going on form of the current home nations international nines, then I think the three he's taking is probably right.
Yeah, definitely. Andrew Porter, I don't think we had.
No, we didn't. But if you're taking out Sinclair and Marler, then he can cover both, can't he? He can play tight end loose, can't he? So he's a good shout.
I think overall, Gatland's probably had a little listen to us on a few things, and it's looking like a really good squad. And I think it will just be interesting how they are going to kind of play. Like I said, the game they're going to play, and I do think it is going to be kind of route one maybe to begin with the hopes and the likes of Sam Simmons maybe on the bench coming on and doing what he does best, attacking the outside channels and running them into the ground maybe.
Yeah, I agree. Like looking at I think you covered it with Bob on the quick reaction last in the week, but I think the starting 23 we picked was pretty
not far off.
Pretty good.
Fair.
Yeah. No Marler, no Henry Slade in the starting 15, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You still with me?
Yeah, buddy, I'm here.
And then the bench, I think, just Sinclair and Kerr.
Yeah.
So
we weren't far off, were we?
Yeah, and if you're going to replace them now, replacement for Marler is probably going to be Wyn Jones, isn't it?
Well, this is the debate I think me and you will have. I'd probably start Wyn Jones. You'd start.
Yeah, same. And Mako off the bench.
Yeah. But then would Wyn Jones be more of an impact player than Mako?
No, I don't know. Personally, I would say Mako's more suited to coming off the bench just because he struggles to do 60 or 80 minutes anyway, doesn't he? But
right, 1 second, mate. 1 second, because the dog's out the back barking at something. Hang on a second. Good boy, come here. Carry on. He's here.
Fair play. So Marla,
Wyn Jones.
Slady. Oh,
I do feel for Slade.
Feel for Slady. Yeah.
I feel even more for Slade now. You've said what you've said at the start of this, that he has got a howitzer of a boot on him. He doesn't shy away from the big hits, and he's a creative player. So I think, I just wonder if he
is in his best form at the moment in recent games and months, and let's just shock it. Well, you take Daly, who's just totally out of form, totally off the mark, in my view. In that Six Nations, obviously he didn't do all bad. He did a few good things and had a few good spells, but overall we covered it during the Six Nations, didn't we? He was one of the players that just wasn't there. And Henry Slade is on great form and really can do, in my view anyway. He's actually, I mean personally, I actually think Henry Slade is an overall better player, all-round player, and got more ability than Daly. But there's a lot of people that would disagree with me, and I know a lot of the coaches obviously massively back Daly. Seems to Eddie Jones obviously very much rates him, doesn't he? And obviously Gatland does as well. So they obviously see something that potentially the likes of us don't.
And what do we know?
You can't argue with that. Well, you can't argue with that because that's the things you don't see.
They get paid the big bucks for, isn't it? So
yeah, and how they are in the team environment and all the rest of it, isn't it? So
yeah, absolutely.
But I think that's massively harsh on Henry Slade because if you're saying Daly's just in as a utility and he's got a big boot, then here's a guy who's in massively great form who is also a very utility player and a big boot, isn't it? So
yeah, I get that.
Yeah, but for replacement for Slade, I mean, what I'd probably say he's likely to go maybe Farrell 12, Henschel 13.
I think that's likely. Yeah, I think that's probably likely.
I think the big question there is going to be Farrell sort of gets up to peak form and fitness, if he can do that in the run up to the first test, and how he gels with Dan Biggar, isn't it? Because if Dan Biggar's going to be a starting 10, then him and Farrell need to gel, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
And Farrell gelled well with Sexton in the last Lions tour, didn't he? With Sexton at 10. So hopefully the same will be able to happen again, but
we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see. Okay, let's just move on to the news. So obviously some interesting things is on the BBC. Wales is to host Howley's Canada and Argentina in July, which is quite nice. Ireland set to host Japan and the USA as part of a summer reshuffle. And I think England have got the USA as well, maybe.
And Canada.
So that's quite cool. Some international rugby coming at the end of the season for all those lads that need looking at now.
Yeah, massive opportunity for all nations to bring in some of the guys who are knocking on the door, isn't it? I think that's
it has to be
disappointed if the coaches don't take it as an opportunity, because it's they're I mean, obviously you want to win every game, but they're
you've got to take that opportunity, definitely.
They're not it's not a tournament, isn't it? They're friendly games, so
yeah, definitely
give the young lads a go.
Give them a go, mate. Give them a go. So some other news. Furlong, we thought he might be signing for Chiefs. He's actually signed a 1-year extension to the Irish RFU or Ireland RFU, so he ain't coming to Sandy Park, which is a shame. But I think they have just signed as replacement for Francis a big old, I want to say Waikato prop. New Zealander, something like 6'4", big old unit. So yeah, he's. I've seen a picture of him. I wouldn't want to tackle him. So. That.
Fair play.
But probably the most exciting news is the fact that there are going to be fans. So fans in the Allianz Premier 15s final, fans coming back this week for the next week's fixtures, which is obviously going to be interesting for us in terms of podcasting, because there's games on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. We might have to look to do a Wednesday podcast after all the games are kind of done and dusted. But we'll have to figure that one out, but let's not worry about that now. Do you want to get into the...
Yeah, wait till all the games are done and then we can review
and figure out what we're doing.
Yeah.
So just on, because I know obviously I did mention in the additional thing that we didn't do the Sarries watch in our main podcast last
Yeah.
week. So they won last week, obviously.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to find it. Who they play and did they win? Must have been on Sunday. Oh. Was there no games this week in the Championship then?
Just gone.
Yeah. I'm sure Saracens were playing somebody, but it's not showing up on the BBC website. So maybe they're...
No, I don't think there was. It was previous week, which is the one we missed in last week's review, wasn't it? I think they smashed Nottingham something like 56-0, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that. Okay, so let's just Sarries watch.
But they're on again this weekend, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. So they're doing really well, which is good. That's positive for them.
Yeah.
Back in the Prem next season, no doubt. We've had a lot of debate about this from Friday Night Lights, Leicester Tigers at Sale. Sale coming out on top 26-10. Half-time was 16-3. So, go on. Do what you want to do.
Well,
just remember Bath is still to come.
Well, I don't really know, mate. I'm not... Sale won, Leicester lost. It's
okay. Let me give you my take on it. So pretty much
Sale. I'm going first, mate. I'm going first. Go on, no, you go first. You go first with Leicester.
So pretty much a full strength Sale team, give or take a few. Pretty much a full B team for Tigers, bar a few. Well, that was the debate that we were obviously having. I thought Tigers played well, but to be fair, Sale just hit them hard. They kind of came back quite well, and there was that period of time where they were really banging on the Sale line. Sale I think ended up finishing the game again with, how many yellow cards did Sale get?
They had a period of basically they went down to 14 and then down to 13, didn't they? That's when Leicester got their try.
Yeah. So it's quite an interesting, it's just one of them. And I guess the guys at the Tigers are looking and focusing maybe on next week's game and then obviously the Championship after that. But, just a disappointing result. But I did think there were some good aspects again from their performance.
My turn?
Yeah, if you want, go on. Here we go.
No, well, I don't hugely disagree, mate. They again played some good rugby, which they are every game they're playing some good rugby, but they didn't manage to win, did they? I went for Sale, I think, didn't I?
Yeah, of course you did.
That wasn't just to annoy you. I genuinely thought Sale would win it, and definitely after the teams were announced, because like you say, Sale had what you would say is closer to full strength first team than Tigers, wasn't it? So
yeah,
so it was always going to be a tough ask, I think. But it's what it is. They played some good rugby, and I think first half was pretty dominant by Sale from
I'll give you that one.
What I viewed, but Tigers fought in the second half, aided by the 2 yellow cards. They got their try then, didn't they? But and then Sale just seemed to notch it up again at the end and got the sort of, I suppose, the try that it didn't seal the game, but it just
help finish it off. Yeah. No, I think that's fair enough. I can see where you're coming from, and we'll just park that one there. It's a disappointment, but I think
it is. I can understand you being disappointed, but that's welcome to how I feel.
Welcome to Bath.
Yeah, you get a smashing win and then a disappointing lose the next week. So
no, that's fair enough.
But
it's still good things happening for Tigers. I think that's
massively. They got European football, haven't they? But I question mark a bit. I mean, I don't know how the selection resting people. I would have thought you're going to rest people the week before your final, but do you know what I mean?
Because I get that.
5 or 6 day turnaround between the Prem game next weekend and then the European final. So you would have thought you rest your guys for this coming Prem game, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he plays it. But he's very much backs his full squad, Borthwick, isn't it? Which is good. He's trying to give the whole squad a good amount of game time, which will definitely benefit going forward and certainly next season. But because of that, you're obviously possibly picking up more defeats than maybe you would if you went full bore every week. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I understand that, but I guess also that it just incorporates the fact there's no relegation. But then saying that, you're fighting for the top 8 spots, aren't you? So
yeah. Top eight
yeah,
for Champions Cup, isn't
yeah.
it? So,
but then I guess we've got another opportunity by being in the final of the Challenge Cup. So you know, I
yeah,
don't know.
you win that, it's guaranteed automatic. Does that make it top 9 then, essentially? For
Well, I would have
if
thought
Leicester,
so because it's done that before, hasn't it? So
yeah,
it'd be interesting. Anyway,
yeah, I
let's
think.
leave then. Let's go to Saturday and the game that you and I got completely wrong.
Yeah.
Gloucester Saints.
Oh, yeah.
31-7 victory to to Gloucester. Sorry, Gloucester were 10-0 up at half time. Really pulled away in the second half. I don't know.
Saints points at the end of the day, weren't they?
Yeah, I think Gloucester's defence was ridiculous. They were just fantastic. I got to watch the game, and I don't think Saints actually got a try until something ridiculous like the
71 or 2 minutes.
Yeah, 70-something minute. I mean, that is serious defence by Gloucester. And Gloucester just looked really good. I know, obviously, Samet was in the team and he's got his couple of tries and, but they just looked so good. And yeah, they were fantastic. And Saints, I don't know what happened to the Saints, but they just looked in all fairness. I know they lost Bigger early on. Hopefully he's okay. He went off for a HIA, like a texture. But pardon me, I nearly burped them. But there's so much experience, and the guys in the Saints team have been playing so well. They just looked mediocre. To be fair, not even mediocre, just really poor.
You could never have predicted that the way that one went, is it? Because just going on the form of the two teams, that was never going to happen, but it did. I don't even want to say Northampton. It's down to Northampton playing badly, because I don't think you should take anything away from Gloucester. That was
in
my view, their best performance of the season. They were just on fire, weren't they? It was. I just don't think the way they played, they just didn't let Northampton didn't let them get out of the starting blocks, did they? So it was,
they were literally defensively on top right from the get-go, weren't they? They just didn't give Saints a chance to get.
Their attack just looked unbelievably sharp.
Yeah,
even with 10, which is not his sort of first choice chosen position, but he was on fire, wasn't he? And obviously, like you say, all of the backline were immense. But obviously, Lewis Rees-Zammit he got a brace, didn't he? That was 2 tries for him.
Yeah, he played really, really well, and even pushing his line credentials even further forward, I guess. But
messed up our predictions.
Yeah.
Well, you're way back in Tigers, but.
All right. Yeah, no, they were fair. Yeah. Okay. All right.
2 in, 2 wrong.
Yeah. Exeter Chiefs against Worcester.
Yeah, as expected.
Half time, Worcester were winning 10-8, but then Chiefs just did what they did. Yeah, mate. Half time, Worcester were winning 10-8, and Chiefs just kind of came back into the game and do what they do. Sam Simmons got a couple of tries. He was just brilliant again. Dave Ewers, Slady's try was lovely. And yeah, just power, just a champion side, really. And obviously Worcester, I've got a feeling, I've heard somewhere that they are 15 games in a row they've lost now, aside from like little COVID games that they were giving wins for. Something like that.
It's not looking good for them, is it?
No, they've got a lot of work to do for next season. Although I guess as well next season there might not be relegation. So
yeah, I don't think it is next season either. Is it? It's just you're still the bottom side, aren't you? So
yeah, you still don't want to be the bottom side, do you? You don't want the wooden spoon. You don't want to be like they need to turn things around. So hopefully, they will do that. But it's going to be a tough old time for them again, I think.
Yeah, I just huge performance second half from Chiefs. I thought standout guy for me anyway. I massively rate the guy personally anyway. I think he's very much underrated by in general in England selection, but Dave Ewers, I thought he was phenomenal. To both of Simmons's tries, Sam Simmons's tries were down to Dave Ewers. Basically, he pretty much carried him over the line each time and boshed it away, didn't he? That's
huge quality.
I don't think like Sam Simmons is an unbelievable player in himself, but if he had to go at that on his own, I think he might have struggled. But Dave Ewers is just a unit, isn't he? He's such a workhorse. I think it's a lot of unseen. He's one of those players, isn't he? He's just the amount of work.
You don't know he's there, do you? That he's just doing stuff. Yeah. He does feature pretty much every week in the Chiefs side, doesn't he? Every now and again he'll have a week off, but he's just been seriously dominant.
Well, yeah, he's been a bit unlucky with injuries over the last few seasons, but this season he seems to be touch wood keeping quite a good run of injury-free games going, and he's on really good form. But you'd say, like, I think if you're picking Sam Simmons as your number 8, maybe England in the future, and then there's a strong argument not to bring Dave Ewers along there as well, isn't it? Because they work so well together. And
and obviously if you've got a smaller number 8, you need a bigger number 6. So you ain't going to get much bigger than him, are you?
Exactly, yeah. But Dave Ewers, Sam Simmons, Tom Curry would be a pretty useful.
That would be, I wouldn't want to tackle any of them. That'd be decent.
Anyway, we're sidetracking a bit. I thought he had a. Obviously, they all play pretty well. So Henry Slade's individual try was pretty immense, wasn't it?
Yeah, they all did play well, to be fair. Really interesting game, Falcons against Irish. Did we both go Irish?
No, I went Falcons.
No, I'll just pretend that I went Falcons as well.
I think you did actually.
Yeah, I think I did. So 15-14, London Irish take it at half time. Final result, 52-27. A ridiculous game of rugby. And I think what really took me was the fact of how the forwards were playing for Newcastle. They were just into play, runners off. There was always somebody there supporting the runner, power, pace, just the kind of normal things that you would expect people to kind of do, and they were just fantastic. And Irish just didn't have an answer to them, to be fair. Brett Cannon kicked all of his penalties and all of his conversions, but obviously they still let in 4 tries. So defensively, maybe a little bit weaker. But it's hard not to just absolutely praise Newcastle, because that game was just bloody brilliant. Really enjoyed watching it. And you kind of knew something was brewing, I guess, because they've had a poor run of form recently, haven't they?
Yeah, they have, and I didn't get to watch any of this one live, but they were hugely impressive, weren't they? So I think that's finally they get another win, isn't it? After a long string of back-to-back defeats, isn't it? But it's good. It's good for Newcastle. With obviously they've. Their Manuel and I think all the teams are now chasing, now that it's the decision for top 8. It's up the ante a bit at the bottom end of the table, isn't it? But,
definitely.
But you say let in 4 tries, but if you score what did they get? 8, 9? It's not the end of the world, is it? But
no, it's not the end of the world. But I think it's just something for Dean Richards just to be kind of aware of, and maybe
nice to have something to work on.
Yeah, just a few more defensive drills. I'm sure he's listening. Dino, if you're listening.
Come on, Dino.
A few more defensive drills, mate, and that'll just shore everything up for you. Okay, so let's... okay. So the final game, mate, Bath, Bristol at the Rec. Bath were winning.
Didn't watch it, mate. Didn't watch it.
I don't blame you.
Mate, I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it, and...
you did watch it.
I wasn't available to watch it.
Oh.
Anyway, but I wasn't hugely enthusiastic, because I did obviously have, although I obviously always back Bath, my boys, but once I saw the team selections, I thought it's going to be a really tough day at the office, because Bath were depleted for starters, and it was pretty much as full strength a Bristol side as you could have selected. So it's always going to be a tough day at the office, and in reality, getting anything out of that game, certainly getting a win would have been would have been a cracking result. But
Sorry, buddy. Sorry. Just hang on a second. Bath were depleted.
Yeah.
What? You had Falatau.
No Zach Mercer, no Sam Underhill.
Well, that's
no
not really...
Abano.
Reed's a good player. Bayliss is... Sorry, mate. I'm just going to be a bit of a now. Reed and Bayliss are bloody good players.
Yeah,
no
but
Abano,
I'm talking if you're picking your first choice team.
Okay, all right.
Then Underhill would be in there. Zach Mercer would be in there. Ben Abano would be in there.
Okay.
But it's good to see Priestland back.
I thought that, that was good. I thought old matey boy Clark in the centre, I thought he played quite well.
Yeah, there's some cracking players, don't get me wrong.
I mean, don't get me wrong, they were 15-7 up at half time.
Exactly. That was the most promising thing overall about it, is actually they did contests and they got a few tries and some good tries as well. Watson was on fire as he has been of lately. Priestland played well, first game back from injury, so that's good to see. But yeah, it was.
But there does seem to be a pattern with Bath, don't they? They get into that lead and then can't sustain it.
But yeah, it doesn't help when you get. Well, yeah, I think you're always going to be struggling against Bristol because they've ground out wins in pretty much every game for however many games you want to look back, haven't they? Even when they've gone behind. So, and when they got all their stars coming back, it's always going to be an uphill battle, isn't it? Even if you go in front, but and then you get a red card as well, which doesn't help, does it? So
no, that didn't help at all. And that's his season pretty much done with now, isn't it? I think.
I would have thought so, yeah. Because
two red cards this season, isn't it, for him?
Yeah, it almost certainly will, because what's left 3 fixtures, I think. So, but yeah, so no Tom Dunn, no Barno. That's just Will Stewart holding up the front row of first choices, but there we go.
Oh, Batty's on the bench. Batty was on the bench, wasn't he? He's an international. I thought he'd gone back to Edinburgh or something. Or was that the end of the season?
Barty.
Jamie Batty.
The Scottish guy.
Yeah. Isn't that Batty?
Well, there is a Batty hooker, isn't there?
Oh, he's Dutoit.
Out for ages.
Oh,
excuse me?
Sorry, Dutoit. Is he not your hooker?
Yes. He's the newly signed hooker, but there's still Batty.
Okay. Right, okay.
But I think Batty's been out for. I'm not sure if he's back in the mix now, but he's had a long-term injury.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I mean, Bristol just did what they do, don't they? You know, I genuinely did feel for the Bath boys, because I thought, bloody hell, 15-7 at half time. That's really good. They play some good rugby, and then just unfortunate. I'm a lot more sympathetic and empathetic, aren't I?
But then, yeah, Nathan Hughes back.
Yeah, he looked good.
Sheedy back.
Malin's on the wing.
Yeah. Malin, do you know what I mean? It's like they're going to tries, aren't they, against anyone? So
yeah, it's basically an international backline, isn't it? Really,
it's unreal, mate. I mean, they're definitely the main guys. Sort of standing in Chiefs' way of defending the title. I'd just love to see it pan out as that being the final, because that would be a hell of a ding dong.
Yeah, it
if
would
they're,
be.
They're both full strength and full
ready
tilt
to go. Yeah. So that brings us kind of on to the Sunday game. Harlequins against Wasps. So hang on a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 tries in all. Half-time 24-22 to Quins, finished up 48-46 to Quins. Mike Brown sent off in the 44th minute for what it could only be described as a foot being placed on Tommy Taylor's face. Whether it was intentional or not, I don't know. But that's his.
What's your opinion?
Oh, mate, I think it was intentional.
My call would be intentional.
Yeah,
look to me, but it's just
silly. Bloody silly.
If there was any intent in that, it's just unbelievably stupid.
And obviously that brings a career end to him at Harlequins, because he's going to be banned for a bit, isn't he? To be fair, he's off to Newcastle.
The only hope is it's not a lengthy ban and they do reach the playoffs, and he might be able to feature in that then, isn't it, in the semi-final?
But to be fair, he deserves a lengthy ban. In fact, you're not going to decipher whether intent was there. But if both me and you have sat here and said it looked like intent to me.
Well, to be honest, I think most people who play and have played the game watch that, and you can just tell, can't you? You just know he had the opportunity to step aside and not stand on Taylor's head, but he did stand on his head. So surely that's intent. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get what you're saying. I understand. But I mean, just that aside, what a fantastic freaking game. I mean, it was just Marcus Smith. If he doesn't feature for England in the summer months, he has to don't bother with George Ford. Let him have a summer off. Get Smith in there. You need to be looking at Smith, Adogwu, all the boys. Robson's going to be at 9. He was fantastic, mate. I just think and this is probably why we both thought he should really get a little shot at the Lions, because his management of the game is ridiculous. His ability is ridiculous, and he won the game for them at the death. It's just a fantastic player. Just
He is, and he's just developing at such a rate, isn't he? Like, obviously, everyone knows that the guy's just got bags and bags and bags of ability and talent, hasn't he? But you can see that. I think he's just one of those guys who's, even though he's got all that, he's a workhorse, isn't he? He's working on his game and trying to improve in every sort of aspect of his game. And you can see he's becoming game by game more and more of a complete player, isn't he? Which a complete 10. So he can only get better. The scary thing, isn't it? So,
and he doesn't seem to shy away from, like some 10s might. He doesn't seem to shy away from the hard stuff and getting his head.
No, that's what I mean. I think actually in past seasons he might have been a little bit like that, but he's worked on every area of his game, and he's becoming more physical. He's becoming more of a defensive presence, and his overall view and sort of understanding of the game is just outstanding, especially for such a he's a youngster, isn't he? He's such a youngster.
Yeah, he's only he's not even 25, is he? I don't think 22, maybe not even that. 21. Let's just call him 16.
He's young, mate. He's young.
Okay.
Well, I don't know about whether you completely leave out George Ford. It might be good to bring in Marcus Smith and maybe a Joe Simmons or an Umaga or whatever, and still have Fordy there to work with them, but not to be first choice, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Like have Marcus Smith starting and Fordy on the bench, or But it's good to keep your experienced guys around in the squad, especially when you're bringing people in, when you've got new lads in to the environment, isn't it? To sort of help develop them and get them used to the environment and all the rest of it, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. I think, I just hope Eddie just kind of says, you know what, guys, let's throw the book out the window. It needs to be the
start of the new era, isn't it?
It needs to do something, mate, because there's so many talented guys that just seem to be looked over, and it's just frustrating. So, just do you like my Australian accent now? I thought I sounded like Eddie there.
That's very good, mate. Very good.
Thank you very much.
I thought you got Eddie on for a minute.
So the top 4. Do we think Saints are 9 points behind Harlequins in 4th place? Do you think they can catch them?
I think that defeat was the end for them personally. That was a shock performance and defeat. So that personally, I think their top 4's gone now.
Yeah, I'd agree. So it's when it comes to playoff time, Bristol, the way it stands, Bristol, Quins go to Bristol, Sale go to Chiefs. You wouldn't fancy any of it, really, would you? It's all going to be.
Well, you'd be back in home wins on those, wouldn't you? But both Sale and Harlequins are perfectly capable of causing upsets, aren't they?
God, yeah, absolutely. Harlequins maybe more than Sale, I'd say.
Yeah. But I think in particular, if it stays as it is and Chiefs and Bristol get their home semis, then that's the final, personally. But
yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. Should we look ahead to next week's fixtures? And not a great one for you Friday night, mate, at the Rec, Sale, Bath.
Tough one. Another tough one. But
you're obviously going to back Sale. Bath, sorry.
Yeah, of course I am. Priestland back, so I would assume he'll probably start this weekend. So Yeah, I'm going for Bath. Come on, Bath.
Okay, I'm going to... Do you know what? I actually think Bath will do so at the Rec, so I'm going to back Bath as well.
Bloody hell.
I know.
You're hoping I'm going to go for Tigers, aren't you?
I'm not even sure I'll go for Tigers. No, I'm joking. Saturday, Wasps at home at the Rico to Worcester.
Wasps.
Oh, see, do you know what? I don't know. Yeah, no,
What?
Wasps.
What do you mean
Yeah,
you don't?
I don't know. I just think Worcester's got a game in them, maybe.
You
I don't
just
know.
say Worcester haven't won a game for 15 games, and Wasps played unbelievably well against.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm just having a moment. Yeah, no, Wasps, definitely. Harlequins at Welford Road.
Tigers for me.
Tigers for me.
Actually, I'm going to put a little caveat on that.
Go on then.
Tigers for me, assuming they bring back or they play Ford and Stewart and potentially Nadolo.
Yeah.
Visa in the front row and in the forwards. So basically, if they full goo first team selection, then I think Tigers could actually do that, mate. I think
I do as well. I think with the loss, I think outside the top four, Tigers are probably the team that could do Harlequins, especially at home.
they're going to have to be like
on fire
on it, for 80 minutes top form, aren't they? And it's a case of probably playing quite a physical, dull nullifying type game to nullify Harlequins and the game that they just want to play, isn't it? Which is
play.
Yeah. But if they can do that, then they got a good chance.
Good. Glad we agree on it. No game on Sunday because Monday. And this is obviously because fans are allowed back in the stadium. Northampton versus Newcastle. I'm going to say Newcastle.
Newcastle.
Definitely. It's a tough old place to go to, Newcastle. And Northampton didn't have a particularly good game. Dan Bigger might be out because obviously he failed his HIA, I guess, because he didn't come back on. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to say Newcastle on that one. Gloucester at Bristol, West Country Derby.
Bristol.
Yeah, go on then, Bristol. Yeah. Oh, and then on the Monday is also Saracens against Amped Hill. At Sarries. Saracens. And then the Tuesday, Exeter Chiefs go to London Irish.
Chiefs.
If Baxter puts out his full team, well, he has to, doesn't he? Because they're still
Chiefs, whatever,
it's Chiefs. Okay. So, Fantasy Rugby, pretty much the season. You thought I wasn't going to mention Fantasy Rugby, didn't you?
Bloody hell. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, no, look, I can't catch you.
Really?
I'm planning for next season. I can't catch you. I mean, obviously, I'm going to see the season out because that's what you do. But it was a weekend for me. Really good weekend for you. I think you're even more further ahead now. Something ridiculous, like 800 points, maybe.
I think it was an extra 125, wasn't it, this week?
Yeah. So it's done and dusted.
It's all over.
It is all over for me. I've got no chance of coming back. So
the crown is retained.
Retained on your little pea head.
Oh, excuse me?
On your little pea head, the crown will be sat for another season. So no, well played, mate. Well played. I'm looking forward and planning to next season.
Thank you very much.
A few tricks.
Good luck for next season.
I actually think if you didn't bother doing it for the rest of the season, I probably still wouldn't catch you.
What if I scored?
No, if you just didn't bother playing, didn't select a team, just like didn't select anybody, I don't think I'd catch you anyway.
That doesn't make sense. What do you mean?
Well,
you mean like just leave the team as it is and
just
whatever
leave it blank.
Don't.
Yeah. So.
Oh right. So I get 0 points each week.
Yeah. So you get. I don't think I catch you anyway.
Yeah, of course you would.
Don't fancy doing that.
If you can get about 400 points around, then.
True. Yeah. I ain't getting that, mate. Jesus.
But I'm not doing that, obviously.
No, of course you're not, because you're, to be fair, I think you're 212th overall in the competition. So, you know.
Yeah, I'm way off the top there. There's no chance.
You are. No, you are, to be fair. But I looked at the top.
I'm about as far behind of the person in first, I think, as you are behind me. So
Yeah. But I looked at that guy's first team. There's not a great difference to the teams that we put out, to be fair.
no,
So, yeah, they've just obviously been more
but
consistent over the season.
but I noticed I don't normally check the overall thing, but I did have a quick look this week. I think the winner, the highest scorer of this round was 700 and something.
Really?
700 and something. Yeah, in this round, which is unreal, isn't it?
Yeah, that's just ridiculous.
But I think they basically had everyone who got like
2 tries.
So yeah, sort of.
So Marcus Smith, Danny Kerr, Robinson and McGuigan, the Newcastle guys, Zammit.
Yeah, Zammit. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
obviously, which we did as well, but
yeah,
but it's all over, mate. It's all over. I am the champion.
All right.
I think it was all over a few weeks ago.
All right, well, we'll never know.
On to next season for you, Gareth.
On to next season, mate. I'm already planning, like I said. Anyway, look, let's wrap this bad boy up, and yeah, we'll catch up again soon.
Okay, mate.
All right, buddy. Take care, and I'll see you soon. So, as I mentioned in the introduction, round 18 of the Allianz Premier 15s took place this weekend with some cracking encounters. Everybody striving to get into the top 4 to make the semi-finals. We'll start with a game between DMP Durham Sharks and Harlequins, and unfortunately the final game of the season for DMP wasn't a great one. Harlequins ran out 67-0 victors, which was disappointing for Durham Sharks, especially as in the previous round they recorded their first victory. But what it does mean is Harlequins are in the semi-finals. Next game took place between Loughborough Lightning and Sale Sharks. Again, Loughborough Lightning were trying to maintain their position in the top 4 and make the playoffs, which they have successfully done with a 26-12 victory over Sale. Very good news for Loughborough Lightning, as I said, who make the semi-final. Sarah Hunter, England captain, and Loughborough Lightning number 8 scored the game's first try, which was fantastic for her. Emily Scarrett was playing, and a few more of the Red Roses were also present for Loughborough Lightning. Next game saw Wasps against Bristol Bears, and I think they ran in a 10 tries against Bristol, taking the game to 62-12 to Wasp Ladies, and again securing their place in the top 4 of the playoffs. So well done the Wasp Ladies. Ellie Boatman was also on the scoreboard again. Who else? Let's have a little look. Worcester Warriors were beaten by Saracens 27-0. Saracens actually scoring their 100th try of the season in that game and cementing their position at the top of the table and making the semi-finals. Final game was between Exeter and Gloucester Hartpury. Gloucester Hartpury taking the victory on this game, 18-12, and unfortunately taking the spoils for the West Country. Yeah, Gloucester Hartpury, fantastic game. But also just a little mention to Exeter Chiefs in their first season. I think they have actually finished about 5th in the league. I would have to double check. But yeah, well done to the ladies Exeter for a really good first season. So the semi-finals are as this. Loughborough Lightning will be playing Saracens and Harlequins will be playing Wasps. So some really interesting encounters there. Those semi-finals will be taking place in a couple of weeks' time, just to give the ladies time to prepare for those. So I'm thinking that Harlequins Saracens final is probably likely, but Wasp Ladies have been on some top form recently and they have a number of good players in their team with international experience. So it's going to be a hell of a ding-dong semi-final for all those teams that are involved. So that brings episode 32 of the Top 2 Inches to a conclusion. Thank you very much again for listening, downloading, subscribing to our little podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks once again to I Spy Surveys for obviously sponsoring the podcast. We are available on all platforms such as Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcast and YouTube. We are over on Twitter at Top 2 Inches RP, and Ollie is still managing the Insta account, obviously at Top 2 Inches RP over there. So go over, give us a check out, follow us. We do post quite a bit on there. like recently our Allianz teams were announced on there. You can also get the latest episode in the feed directly there. So yeah, go over there, check us out, give us a like, give us a subscribe, that'd be fantastic. And yeah, we will be back next week with more rugby chat. See you soon.